Thank you for visiting the Miltenberger Law Offices YouTube channel and our website. We are a proven criminal defense law firm in Nebraska, with over 1,000 cases handled and over 12 years of combined legal experience. Our firm has created these audio articles to help educate you on your rights, protect your freedom, and help you achieve the best solution for the charges you are facing. If we are hired for your case, we will never back down, no matter the odds. A misdemeanor may sound minor. That does not mean the consequences are in Omaha. Depending on the charge, you could still face jail time, probation, fines, a driver's license suspension, firearm restrictions, or a permanent criminal record. Your job may be affected. Your professional license may be questioned. A domestic violence allegation may prevent you from returning home or contacting someone close to you. And a conviction that once seemed manageable may follow you through background checks for years. At Miltenberger Law Offices, we represent people facing misdemeanor charges in Omaha and across Nebraska. Our job is to examine what happened, determine what prosecutors can actually prove, and build a defense focused on protecting your record and your future. If you have been arrested, cited, or ordered to appear in court, call 402-217-2267 or contact us online for a free, confidential consultation with an experienced Omaha misdemeanor defense lawyer. What is a misdemeanor in Nebraska? Under Nebraska Revised Statutes, Section 28-106, a misdemeanor is a criminal offense that is generally less serious than a felony. But it is still a crime. That distinction matters. A traffic ticket may be handled as a civil or administrative matter in some situations. A misdemeanor can result in an arrest, criminal prosecution, jail sentence, and conviction appearing on your record. Nebraska divides misdemeanors into several classifications based on the maximum punishment allowed by law. Those classifications include Class 1 misdemeanors, Class 2 misdemeanors, Class 3 misdemeanors, Class 3A misdemeanors, Class 4 misdemeanors, Class 5 misdemeanors, Class W misdemeanors for DUI and implied consent offenses. The classification tells you the maximum statutory punishment. It does not tell you what will happen in your particular case. The final outcome may depend on the specific charge, your prior criminal history, whether anyone was injured, whether alcohol, drugs, or a weapon were allegedly involved, the strength of the prosecution's evidence, whether the charge can be reduced or dismissed, whether diversion, probation, or another alternative is available. That is why you should not evaluate a misdemeanor case based only on its label. Common misdemeanor charges in Omaha. Misdemeanor cases can arise from traffic stops, arguments, retail investigations, domestic disputes, public disturbances, and encounters with law enforcement. Some begin with an arrest. Others begin with a citation and a court date. Common misdemeanor allegations in Omaha include third-degree assault, third-degree domestic assault, disorderly conduct, shoplifting and misdemeanor theft, criminal mischief or property damage, trespassing, possession of drug paraphernalia, certain marijuana-related offenses, driving under the influence, driving during suspension, reckless or careless driving, obstruction, disturbing the peace, resisting arrest, minor in possession of alcohol, protection order violations, certain weapons offenses. The same incident may lead to more than one charge. For example, an argument outside a bar may result in allegations of assault, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. A domestic dispute may lead to a domestic assault charge and a protection order that immediately restricts contact. A traffic stop may produce DUI, open container, drug possession, and driving under suspension allegations. The defense must address the entire case, not merely the most serious count listed on the citation or complaint. Third-degree assault charges in Omaha, Nebraska. Third-degree assault is one of the more serious misdemeanor charges filed in Nebraska. Under Nebraska Revised Statute Section 28-310, a person may be accused of third-degree assault for intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causing bodily injury to another person. The statute may also apply when someone allegedly threatens another person in a menacing manner. That means physical contact is not always required. Cases may arise from fights at bars or parties, arguments between neighbors, school or workplace confrontations, sporting events, road rage incidents, threatening gestures or statements. These cases often involve competing accounts. One person says they were attacked. The other says they acted in self-defense. Witnesses may have consumed alcohol. Video may show only part of the incident. Physical injuries may not establish who started the confrontation. A knowledgeable Omaha misdemeanor defense attorney looks beyond the accusation and reconstructs what happened before the police arrived. Domestic assault and other domestic misdemeanors in Omaha, Nebraska. A domestic violence accusation can create immediate consequences before anyone is convicted. You may be ordered to leave your home. You may be prohibited from contacting your spouse, partner, or family member. An order of protection may affect child custody, housing, and firearm possession. Under Nebraska law, third-degree domestic assault may involve allegedly causing bodily injury to an intimate partner or threatening an intimate partner with imminent bodily injury. The term intimate partner may include a current or former spouse, people who share a child, people who currently live together or previously lived together, people in a dating relationship. Domestic assault cases are not always supported by independent witnesses or clear physical evidence. Police may arrive after the argument has ended and attempt to determine what happened from conflicting statements. Officers may make an arrest based on visible injuries, emotional reactions, or assumptions about who was the primary aggressor. The defense may examine 911 recordings, body camera footage, photographs of both parties, text messages sent before and after the incident, prior threats or acts of violence, witness accounts, whether the accused acted in self-defense, whether the allegation was exaggerated or false. A later request by the complaining witness to drop the charges does not automatically end the prosecution. Once a case is filed, the prosecutor generally controls whether it continues. Disorderly conduct and disturbing the peace charges in Omaha, Nebraska. Disorderly conduct allegations frequently begin with a noisy argument, a public disturbance, or an encounter in which officers believe someone failed to calm down. These cases may involve allegations of fighting in public, yelling or using threatening language, disrupting a business or public event, creating excessive noise, interfering with other people's use of public property, continuing disruptive behavior after police arrive. Not every loud, offensive, or emotional statement is criminal. The First Amendment protects a significant amount of speech, even speech that others find rude or upsetting. The legal question is whether the conduct crossed the line into an offense defined by Nebraska law or a valid local ordinance. Body camera footage can be particularly important. It may show whether officers accurately described the conduct, whether the accused followed instructions, and whether the alleged disturbance was as serious as the report suggests. Misdemeanor theft and shoplifting charges in Omaha, Nebraska. A theft allegation in Omaha does not have to involve expensive property to create a criminal record. Misdemeanor theft cases may arise from retail shoplifting accusations, failure to scan merchandise at self-checkout, switching price tags, keeping lost property, borrowing property and allegedly failing to return it, employee theft accusations, disputes over jointly owned property. The value of the property can affect how the offense is classified. But value is not the only issue. Prosecutors must also establish the required intent. An accidental failure to scan an item is not the same as intentionally stealing it. A misunderstanding over ownership is not necessarily theft. Neither is forgetting that an item was placed under a shopping cart or inside a reusable bag. Relevant evidence may include surveillance footage, receipts, self-checkout transaction logs, statements made to loss prevention employees, store policies and employee training, ownership records, messages between the parties. A misdemeanor theft conviction may create particular problems for employment because it can be viewed as an offense involving dishonesty. That makes protecting your record by hiring a skilled misdemeanor lawyer in Omaha especially important. Criminal mischief and property damage charges in Omaha, Nebraska. Criminal mischief generally involves intentionally damaging another person's property. Common allegations include breaking a window, damaging a vehicle, punching a wall or door, destroying a phone, graffiti, damaging property during an argument, interfering with utilities or equipment. The amount of alleged damage may affect whether the case is treated as a misdemeanor or felony. Repair estimates are not always accurate. A business or property owner may seek the cost of replacing an entire item even when a less expensive repair was available. Your misdemeanor defense team may dispute who caused the damage, whether the conduct was intentional, who owned the property, the actual cost of repair, whether the damage existed before the incident, whether the accused had permission to use or alter the property. Restitution may also become an important issue if the case results in a conviction or negotiated resolution. DUI and Class W misdemeanors in Omaha, Nebraska. Nebraska uses the Class W misdemeanor classification for DUI and implied consent offenses. A first offense DU, I may expose you to jail, fines, license consequences, alcohol evaluation requirements, and ignition interlock restrictions. The criminal case is only one part of the problem. An administrative license revocation may move forward separately through the Nebraska Department of Motor Vehicles. DUI defenses may involve whether the traffic stop was lawful, whether any field sobriety tests were administered correctly, whether medical conditions affected performance, whether the breath testing device was properly maintained, whether the blood sample was collected and tested correctly, whether the accused was actually operating or in physical control of the vehicle, whether officers complied with Nebraska testing procedures. Deadlines can arrive quickly after a DUI arrest. Waiting until the first court appearance may mean losing important opportunities to address your driving privileges. The Omaha DUI defense team at Miltenberger Law has over 4 decades of combined experience defending Nebraska residents in all aspects of DUI. Obstruction and resisting arrest charges in Omaha, Nebraska. An encounter with police can escalate quickly. A person who is frightened, confused, or asking questions may be accused of obstructing an officer. Someone who tenses up or pulls away during an arrest may face an additional allegation of resisting. But disagreement is not automatically obstruction, and asking why you are being detained is not necessarily a crime. Your Omaha defense attorney may review whether the officer was performing a lawful duty, what commands were given, whether those commands were clear, whether the accused heard or understood them, whether physical resistance actually occurred, whether officers used unnecessary force, what body camera or bystander video shows. The officer's written report is only one version of the encounter. Video may tell another. Nebraska misdemeanor penalties. The possible punishment depends on the classification of the offense. Classification: Class 1 misdemeanor. Maximum jail sentence, up to 1 year. Maximum fine, up to $1,000. Classification: Class 2 misdemeanor. Maximum jail sentence, up to 6 months. Maximum fine, up to $1,000. Classification: Class 3 misdemeanor. Maximum jail sentence, up to 3 months. Maximum fine, up to $500. Classification: Class 3, a misdemeanor. Maximum jail sentence, up to 7 days. Maximum fine, up to $500. Classification: Class 4 misdemeanor. Maximum jail sentence, no imprisonment. Maximum fine, up to $500. Classification: Class 5 misdemeanor. Maximum jail sentence, no imprisonment. Maximum fine, up to $100. Classification: Class W misdemeanor. Maximum jail sentence varies by the number of DUI or implied consent convictions. Maximum fine varies by the number of convictions. These are statutory limits. They are not guaranteed sentences. Depending on the offense and circumstances, a court may consider probation, fines, treatment, community service, restitution, or other conditions. Some offenses also carry consequences beyond the basic misdemeanor classification. For example, a DUI may result in driver's license consequences. A domestic violence conviction may affect firearm rights. A theft conviction may create employment and licensing problems. A protection order violation may lead to additional restrictions. A subsequent offense may be punished more severely than a first offense. Will you go to jail for a misdemeanor in Omaha, Nebraska? Not necessarily, but jail is possible for many Omaha misdemeanor charges. Whether a court imposes incarceration may depend on the classification of the offense, your criminal history, whether the offense involved violence or injury, whether you complied with bond conditions, whether restitution has been paid, whether treatment or evaluation is appropriate, the prosecutor's recommendation, the judge's assessment of the case. A first-time defendant charged with a nonviolent offense may face a very different sentencing situation than someone accused of repeating the same conduct. But you should never assume that being a first-time offender guarantees dismissal, diversion, or probation. The charge still needs to be taken seriously. Can a misdemeanor in Omaha affect your criminal record? Yes. A misdemeanor conviction can appear on background checks and affect opportunities long after the court case ends. Potential consequences may include difficulty obtaining employment, professional licensing problems, housing application denials, immigration consequences for non-citizens, school disciplinary action, loss of firearm rights in qualifying cases, higher insurance costs, driver's license restrictions, use of the conviction to increase penalties in a future case. Some people plead guilty because they want to get it over with. That decision may end the immediate court appearance. It does not necessarily end the consequences. Before entering a plea, you should speak with an experienced Omaha misdemeanor defense lawyer to fully understand what the conviction could mean outside the courtroom. What happens after a misdemeanor arrest in Omaha? What to expect after a misdemeanor depends on whether you were arrested, cited, or ordered to appear. A typical case may involve several stages, including arrest or citation. Some misdemeanor allegations lead to an immediate arrest. Others result in a citation requiring you to appear in court later. Do not ignore the citation. Missing the appearance may lead to a warrant and an additional legal problem. Bond and release conditions. If you are taken into custody, the court may address whether you will be released and what conditions apply. Conditions may prohibit alcohol use, contact with another person, possession of weapons, or travel outside a certain area. Violating those conditions can place your release at risk. Arraignment. At arraignment, the charge is formally presented and a plea is entered. This is not the time to explain your side of the story to the judge or prosecutor. Your statements may be used against you. Discovery and investigation. Your defense attorney may obtain and review evidence such as police reports, body camera recordings, 911 calls, photographs, witness statements, surveillance footage, laboratory reports, breath or blood test records. The defense should also identify evidence the police did not collect. Pre-trial motions. Legal motions may challenge an unlawful stop, search, arrest, interrogation, identification, or other part of the investigation. If evidence was obtained in violation of your rights, your Omaha misdemeanor defense lawyer may ask the court to suppress it. Negotiations or trial. Some cases are resolved through dismissal, diversion, charge reduction, or a negotiated plea. Others proceed to trial. The right approach depends on the evidence, available defenses, potential penalties, and your goals. Misdemeanor diversion in Omaha. Diversion may allow some eligible defendants to resolve a case without a traditional conviction. It is not available in every case. Eligibility may depend on the offense charged, prior criminal history, whether the alleged offense involved violence, whether restitution is owed, local diversion policies, the defendant's willingness to complete required conditions. Possible conditions may include community service, counseling or treatment, educational classes, restitution, drug or alcohol testing, a period without new criminal violations. Diversion can be valuable, but accepting it is still an important legal decision. You should understand the conditions, costs, admissions, and consequences of failing to complete the program before agreeing to participate. Common defenses to misdemeanor charges in Omaha. The strongest defense depends on the specific allegation. Common defense strategies may include: the prosecution cannot prove intent. Many misdemeanor offenses require proof that conduct was intentional, knowing, or reckless. An accident, mistake, or misunderstanding may not satisfy that requirement. Self-defense. A person may lawfully use reasonable force to protect themselves from an immediate threat. Self-defense may apply in assault, domestic assault, and other confrontation-based cases. The wrong person was accused. Witnesses can make mistakes. Surveillance video may be unclear. Several people may have been present. The government must prove it, charge the correct person. The witness is unreliable. A witness may be mistaken, biased, intoxicated, angry, or motivated by a personal dispute. Prior statements, text messages, and objective evidence may undermine the accusation. The evidence was obtained unlawfully. If police conducted an unlawful stop, search, or interrogation, your Omaha misdemeanor defense lawyer may seek to suppress the evidence obtained as a result. The conduct was constitutionally protected. Some disorderly conduct or obstruction allegations involve speech, recording police, or questioning government action. Protected expression cannot lawfully be punished merely because an officer or another person disliked it. The evidence is insufficient. Suspicion is not enough. Neither is an accusation unsupported by reliable proof. If prosecutors cannot establish every required element beyond a reasonable doubt, a conviction should not occur. Resources for misdemeanor charges in Nebraska. Understanding an Omaha misdemeanor charge can be difficult when you are trying to interpret a citation, locate your court, determine the possible penalties, or find out what appears on your criminal record. These official Nebraska and Douglas County resources may be helpful. Nebraska Revised Statute Section 28-106 lists Nebraska's misdemeanor classifications and the maximum authorized jail sentences and fines for each class. Nebraska Criminal Code Online Database, Chapter 28, contains statutes covering assault, theft, property offenses, obstruction, weapons allegations, and many other misdemeanor crimes. Nebraska State Laws Search allows users to search Nebraska statutes by keyword, statute number, or statutory range. Nebraska Judicial Branch website provides court information, rules, forms, opinions, and resources explaining Nebraska's judicial system. Douglas County Clerk of the District Court website offers information about court filings, criminal case processing, court records, payments, and courthouse services. Nebraska Criminal History Record Requests. The Nebraska State Patrol allows members of the public to request a Nebraska record of arrest and prosecution, commonly called a rap sheet. Nebraska State Patrol Services provides access to criminal history information, public record requests, fingerprinting resources, permits, and other statewide services. What to do after a misdemeanor arrest or citation in Omaha? Do not miss court. Read your citation and release paperwork carefully. Missing court may result in a warrant. Do not discuss the case. Online. Posts, messages, photographs, and comments may be obtained and used as evidence. Do not try to defend yourself on social media. Preserve evidence. Save messages, photographs, receipts, location records, videos, and witness information that may help explain what happened. Follow bond and no-contact orders. Even when the other person initiates contact, responding may violate a court order. Speak with your attorney before communicating. Do not assume you should plead guilty. A quick guilty plea may create consequences you did not anticipate. Review the evidence and your options first. Contact an Omaha misdemeanor lawyer. The earlier an Omaha defense attorney becomes involved, the sooner evidence can be preserved, court dates can be addressed, and a defense strategy can begin. Frequently asked questions about Nebraska misdemeanors. Is a misdemeanor a criminal offense in Omaha? Answer: yes. A misdemeanor is a crime. A conviction may result in jail, fines, probation, and a criminal record. What is the most serious misdemeanor in Nebraska? Answer: A Class 1 misdemeanor carries the highest general misdemeanor maximum, up to 1 year in jail, a fine of up to $1,000, or both. Class W misdemeanors use separate penalties for DUI and implied consent convictions. Can a misdemeanor in Omaha be reduced or dismissed? Answer: sometimes. No attorney can guarantee that result. But several issues may affect whether prosecutors continue with the original charge. In other cases, the defense may pursue a reduction to a less serious offense or an outcome that avoids a conviction. Can I go to jail for a first misdemeanor? Answer: yes. Being a first-time defendant does not eliminate the possibility of jail. The outcome depends on the charge, facts, criminal history, and sentencing decision. Do I need a lawyer for a misdemeanor in Omaha? Answer: you are not legally required to hire private counsel, but representation can be important when jail, employment, licensing, driving privileges, firearm rights, or your record may be affected. Can a misdemeanor become a felony in Omaha? Answer: in some situations, yes. Prior convictions, the value of property, the seriousness of an injury, the involvement of a weapon, or another aggravating fact may increase an offense to a felony. Can the alleged victim drop the charges? Answer: not automatically. The prosecutor, not the complaining witness, generally decides whether a criminal case continues after charges are filed. Will a misdemeanor appear on a background check in Omaha? Answer: it can. The effect depends on how the case is resolved, what records are searched, and whether any later record relief option applies. Can I get diversion for a first offense? Answer: possibly. Eligibility depends on the specific offense, criminal history, facts, and applicable diversion policies. A first offense does not guarantee acceptance. What happens if I ignore a misdemeanor citation? Answer: failing to appear may lead to a warrant and additional consequences. Treat the listed court date as mandatory unless your attorney or the court tells you otherwise. Can misdemeanor charges be dismissed in Omaha? Answer: yes. Charges may be dismissed when evidence is insufficient. Witnesses are unreliable, constitutional violations occur, or prosecutors determine the case should not continue. Should I speak with the police if I know I am innocent? Answer: you should consult an Omaha misdemeanors attorney first. Innocent people can still make incomplete or inconsistent statements that investigators later interpret as suspicious. Will a misdemeanor in Omaha affect my immigration status? Answer: it may. Immigration consequences depend on the offense and the person's status. Non-citizens should obtain advice addressing both criminal and immigration law before entering a plea. Why choose Miltenberger Law Offices for misdemeanor? Defense in Omaha, Nebraska. An Omaha misdemeanor case may be routine to the court system. It is not routine to you. Your record matters. Your job matters. Your driver's license matters. Your family matters. At Miltenberger Law, we take the time to determine what actually happened and what the government can prove. Depending on the case, that may involve reviewing body camera and surveillance footage, examining police reports for inconsistencies, interviewing witnesses, challenging unlawful stops and searches, analyzing breath, blood, or laboratory evidence, negotiating for dismissal, diversion, or reduced charges, preparing the case for trial when necessary. The police report tells one version of events. The prosecution may tell another. Our job is to uncover the complete story. Speak with a Miltenberger Law Omaha misdemeanors attorney today. Do not let the word misdemeanor convince you that the case does not matter. A conviction can affect your freedom, your record, and opportunities you have worked hard to build. Miltenberger Law represents clients facing assault, domestic violence, theft, disorderly conduct, DUI, property damage, obstruction, and other misdemeanor charges in Omaha and throughout Nebraska. Call 402-217-2267 or contact us online to speak with an experienced Omaha misdemeanor defense attorney. The sooner we understand what happened, the sooner we can begin protecting what comes next. Miltenberger Law Offices is a leading criminal defense law firm serving the entire state of Nebraska. We are headquartered in Omaha and serve Douglas County, Lancaster County, Lincoln, Sarpy County, and all of Nebraska. We look forward to helping you with your criminal defense attorney needs.